Okay, people. So the weekend we had UFC 264, which, man, it might be the biggest pay-per-view so far this year. This card is stacked. So my boy Mike has jumped in to go through these fights.
Happy to be back. Excited to see a full Vegas crowd again.
Yeah, T-Mobile Arena.
Right.
And I think that's going to be, I think we're going to see some interesting shit. You know what I mean? Because I just think there's certain people that they will fight well behind closed doors, but with the crowd going nuts,
True.
I think it just adds a little something to some people.
It's kind of funny how some fighters will excel and they'll absorb the energy, but then the other ones, certain ones will get stage fright. It's like it gets a little bit too much, and they just knot themselves with big crowds. Pretty weird.
Yeah. I do think the veterans though. I think you see you see the veterans can really, really get that extra little something from just a magnetic crowd. So yeah, I cannot wait because, man, this card, we've got so many just incredible fights.
Was there a crowd at the last Conor Poirier fight? I forget.
There were a few. I think there was like 2,000 people in attendance or something.
Okay, so it was limited attendance and all that.
Yeah, there was I think you bought a ticket and you could watch all of the Fight Island fights. So I think it was the Holloway one, the Conor one, and there was that other one. And there was 3 fights, I think, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got your ticket and you could go see all of those fights. But it was limited though.
That's right. Yeah. It was over. Forgot it was over at Fight Island. That was some of the last fights over there.
Yeah, it was a limited situation. So I mean, there was some noise up in the place, but it's not what it will be.
Oh, that's right. I remember Conor showing up on his boat and all that. All his grandstanding he does. So, yeah, this is a top, but though this card needs this crowd. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild.
For sure. Yeah, and I think it's gonna make those early fights interesting because the first 2 are that's for the pink slip.
Yes, both of them. Just who is not fighting for the win is fighting for the job. Let's see what happens on that one.
Yeah, So I think it adds to those fights as well. I think what we've seen on the previous cards with a crowd, the very first fight is just nuts. So
definitely.
I expect that trend to continue with this one.
No, the prelims have always been delivering lately. They're just coming out with something to prove, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what's the fight on the prelims that really jumps out to you?
Those first 2, actually, I'm really excited about, with Alan Edvosky and Totoro Zhang here. Yeah, I mean, neither of them have won in the UFC yet, but yet you had Alan before, who was 8-0 in Bellator. Then has come over to UFC and been shit in the bed.
Yeah,
and then it's pretty much the same thing with Totoro over there.
Well, I think the interesting thing about Yahazo is his last fight was at light heavyweight. So he's dropping down to middleweight for this one. And yeah, it will be interesting to see if that power comes down with him.
Right.
You know, because yeah, you know, I mean, he might have been struggling against light heavies, but
that could be a game changer.
Middleweight, yeah, if that power carries with him, you know, he could be handing Amadowski his third straight loss.
And bye. I'm curious to see what Zong looks like tomorrow at the weigh-ins, though. See if he's looking all emaciated or if he looks healthy. You know, that could be a big detriment.
True, though. I mean, at light heavyweight, he wasn't exactly trim. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
Having to make that cut, it might be helpful. It might add to the discipline. So yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. Definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm thinking Allen's gonna come out with the KO on this one.
Okay.
That's sort of where I'm leaning on that.
I mean, I'm going the other way because yeah, I just think that light heavyweight power, I think that might be the difference maker right here.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one, no matter what. all is on the line for these guys.
It is. I mean, yeah, it hasn't been that great for the Chinese athletes of late. So we'll see if
that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yazang can turn it around.
Been a bit disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And the fight after that, I mean, I honestly got Rivera and Zhumegalov. That one looks good too. It's like I liked Rivera in the Contender Series. I mean, didn't he win it?
Yeah, he came by the Contender, looked very good on that, but just hasn't been able to you know, repeat that form in the UFC.
I mean, that last knockout by Osborne on him was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
First round, 7 seconds in. Yeah, that was nasty.
It wasn't the best situation for him, for sure. It definitely was not the best. So yeah, we get to see if he can turn it around. You know, I do believe he can. You know, I've got him for the win with this one. So yeah,
that's where I'm leaning to, just because I really don't know much about the other guy.
Okay, no, he's talented. He's definitely talented. But yeah, no, I just think Riviera, I think he might have just a variety of tools. You know, I think he comes with a little bit more variety. So yeah, I think yeah, Riviera is going to be able to get it done.
Okay, I hope so. I like him. I want him to stick around.
Yeah, I'm sure he does as well.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I'd imagine he doesn't want to, you know, leave.
Take a loss and end up in bare knuckles someday.
Indeed. But yeah, no, it's a fun one. It's a fun one, man, for sure. But you know, Brad Tavares against Amari Akhmadev, that's a decent fight as well.
Yeah, the Wolverine is back. I really like Amari.
He is good. You know, I don't think there's a question about that one. His last fight, it was. I wouldn't say his fights have been incredible.
No, not exciting. That's not, but effective.
Definitely effective, but Tavares looked extremely good last time out. So I think I'm gonna go with Tavares with this one.
I'm going with Amari. I think he's just gonna pressure him up against the fence and go with probably a submission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Brad's just gonna get smothered.
Like Tavares has got decent wrestling.
Yeah.
So I think he's got decent wrestling, but he's got heavy hands too.
Right.
So
always get clipped.
Yeah, I think he pulled this one off.
Sorry, my wife just sneezed.
I think the lead fight on the early prelims, Jennifer Meyer against Jessica Ai.
Right.
It's an interesting fight, but I think the big thing with this is Ai is on a 2-fight losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
So she needs this win.
Yeah, I think she hasn't won since 2019. I think that was her last win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, and they're both victims to Valentina, but I was KO'd and Maya, was lost by decision.
I mean, Maya lost by decision, but she was pretty dominated.
Oh, yeah,
she had
definitely
one okay round, but she did not. It wasn't a close fight.
I know this fight it's going to be a good fight, but I don't think it's going to be that exciting for some reason. I don't know why. I
think that Maya has more tools.
Yeah,
I mean, she's got better jiu-jitsu, and she can look very good on her feet. When she's on, she's really good.
Another one of those on and off situations.
I mean, kind of, but I think we've seen her look. I think it was. I mean, well, she easily beat Calderwood. Easily beat Calderwood and looked really good against Modafari. Right, but against Shakagian, she wasn't great.
That was a loss, right?
Yeah. But I think that's the thing with her. Like sometimes, I don't know, she just seems asleep at the helm. But when she's on, she's very good. So I just think that she brings a little bit more than I's, tenacious for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Maya, she's got better stand-up and definitely better ground game.
Definitely.
So I'm gonna go with Maya for the win.
Oh yeah, I'm going Maya for the win by decision on this one. I was thinking that one. Yeah, I think Jessica will last just fine, but she's probably gonna get dominated. I hope so. I like Jennifer.
Oh man,
the prelims.
The prelims proper are really hot.
Yes, it's like just turns up the heat immediately.
Yeah, like all the fights on, the thing with the early prelims, they're good fights, but there's a few where people, they're not household names. They're not, they're not going to grab everyone's attention, but you go to the prelims proper and every one of these fights is tasty.
It's so good. I mean, starting from Trevin Giles to Dracus. That one looks great. Brian Hall and the whole thing looks like so good from start to finish. Holy crap.
I mean, let's look at that first one. So we've got Dracus De Plessy, who made a Oh my gosh, his debut in the UFC was pretty
Right.
impressive.
That I remember that one. That one was great.
Yeah, he looked extremely good. Extremely good. You know, really put it on Perez and got it done, you know, just over halfway through the round. You know, so
Didn't take long at all.
yeah. Yeah, I think we were meant to see him earlier, but I think he got COVID, which meant that
Oh,
that fight didn't happen. So
I'm curious
yeah,
about his stamina. I mean, how because Trevin Giles, he can pressure and pressure and just sort of wear a guy down. He's a lot
yeah.
more accurate in his
I,
striking too, I think. And
we've definitely seen Giles just. I think we've seen him turn it up, right? I think
right,
when he came into the promotion, he got some good wins, right? Got a couple of good wins. And then we saw him, lose to Zach Cummins and Gerald Marchand, right? He got choked out both times.
oh yeah,
Both times in the third round, both times with a guillotine. I would say that the James Krause fight, I didn't agree with that one.
what was the outcome of that?
He got a split decision win,
Hmm.
but he looked very good against Bevon Lewis. And then he got a nice win over Roman Dolizard, who up to that point had been looking pretty good. So I just think we've seen Giles kind of turn that corner.
He's looked really good the last three fights. I mean, he's looked amazing.
So
I,
I'm kind of thinking that we've seen Giles in adversity.
true.
Yeah. We've seen him struggle. We've seen him be able to turn it around. And it is kind of that, right? Having that data on him, that's why I'm kind of picking him for this fight.
Right. That's sort of what I'm thinking too. I mean, we don't know much about Drake. He's sort of a wild card in a lot of ways. I mean, he was at a middle and welterweight champ in EFC Africa. It's like however much weight that has, but I mean, he's no slouch. And from what I read, he can actually take a beating, but his defense isn't all that great. So Giles with his accuracy, that could be another factor too in his favor as things go on.
Yeah. I think De Plessy, he hasn't gone the distance a lot, right? He's managed to get things done early. So you kind of wonder if it goes deep, how's he going to be? Now, obviously, he would have, he trains, right? He's a professional, but having not fought at the highest of levels, and then having to go, those full 15. Yeah, who knows, right? We've seen people have those adrenaline dumps. We've seen people struggle.
So many times. Come in like a bear swinging, wah, 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 and then and that's it. They just like gas out so quick. Like, what happened to that guy?
Yeah.
Adrenaline's a real thing.
Yeah, I think Giles is going to be able to, I think he's going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, I think if it goes past 2.5 rounds, then definitely the edge goes to Giles all the way.
Yeah, Giles has got power too, though. So, he could finish it early. Yeah, he could go down that way.
I could see a third round TKO for Giles.
Yeah, I'd say that's a decent bet. So that's a decent bet. Now, the featherweight division is pretty hot right now. And Ryan Hall against Ilia Topuria is that's a good fight. Neither are ranked, but even so, you kind of feel that these two could beat anyone in that top,
for sure.
top 15.
I'm surprised that Ryan Hall is such the underdog right now. He's like a plus 200 to lose on this one. Yeah,
it's injuries, I'd say.
Okay.
Like you haven't seen him for a little while, right? And I think that's the thing. And Topuria is undefeated, but I think the big thing with this one is because Hall's last fight was July 2019.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah. I mean, he's on a 4-fight win streak, but we haven't seen him for a while, and some of that is injury, some of it is just difficulty trying to book a fight. He's a tricky dude, so people just didn't want to fight him.
Interesting. His style was so unorthodox too, from what I remember. He's so tricky.
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen him evolve. Right, early on, it definitely more jiu-jitsu based, but he's really developed that kicking game, right? And he can strike. We've seen him in the last few, look good on the feet. So he's added that wrinkle to the game, which definitely it makes it tricky. And I have to say, I've got Ryan Hall to win this fight.
So do I. Actually, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I think he's gonna come out of the shadows and show up.
Yeah, I really like Topuria. I think he's a talent. He's looked very good. I picked him to win all his previous fights, but against the Wizard, man,
that's right. The Wizard. Exactly.
Yeah. Gotta go.
That one's awesome. That one I can't wait for.
Yeah, and the fight following it, the welterweight clash, Michel Pereira against Nico Price.
This one's a tricky one too, because you got Pereira, who likes to put on the show and sometimes to get a little bit too showy. And I don't know. And then Nico, it's like he likes to pressure early but can gas out. So I don't know. I don't know how that one's gonna go.
I mean, we don't see him gas out all the time. I think sometimes sometimes things happen, right? Sometimes you have an off day, you just feel, what I mean? So I wouldn't say Price always gasses out. But
no, not always, but sometimes, if he gets a little overzealous in the beginning, just kind of like we were talking about earlier, just adrenaline dumps himself.
Yeah, I mean, he will put a pace on you. He will definitely put a pace on you. But we've seen Pereira gas, right? We've seen him really just, let loose and then have nothing left in the tank, right? So I think in his last fight against Chaos Williams, he was able to rein it in a lot more, right? But I think if he goes up against someone crazy like Price, I don't know, man. I've got a feeling that he's gonna want to be like, oh, you think you can? Hey, I can do. And I think that could be the downfall of Michel Pereira.
I know. I think so too. I think Nico Price is gonna come in and gonna frustrate him to the point where Piero just starts getting sloppy. He's like, just start trying to rush in, get in there, and I think he might get caught. Because Nico has some good knockout power too.
Oh yeah, Nico's got hands.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu as well. Right. So yeah, he's definitely talented. And I've Pereira's on a 2-fight win streak, right? And yeah, he's been able to change things. But I thought Williams won their last fight. I was surprised that Pereira got the decision. And I just think that against someone like Price, I think Price is going to be really unorthodox. And I think that's going to make Pereira go to his crazy toolbox. And I think we're going to see Pereira start off reserved. But as the fight goes on, we're going to see him really try and open up. And I think in doing that, we're going to see Price, grab a submission or something like that. I kind of think.
Yeah, Price is definitely going to be able to capitalize.
And
going to get sloppy.
He definitely sounds motivated. He was on Unfiltered recently, and it sounds like he is, just retooled, refocused, and he's going to come out very prepared.
I gotta go listen to that tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Oh yeah. So who do you got on that one?
I've got Price. I
got Price too. Wow, we're agreeing a lot this time.
Doesn't seem that way, yeah.
I don't know.
Our headline fight of the prelims to lead us into the main card got Max Griffin against Carlos Condon.
Max Payne.
So Griffin is on a 2-fight win streak, and so is Condon.
Right.
So little interesting in that regard.
Ooh, so I know Carlos is way more accurate of a striker, but Max's volume is just incredible. I mean, he just comes out swinging. So would you go with accuracy or just full on swinging knockout power?
Well, I think it depends, right? Because I do think, right, the old Condon, he'd win this fight. But now he's not quite the same. He's definitely been able to turn things around in his last few fights, which is huge. It's huge. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. The fact when a vet like Condon, he's able to just slightly change that style, right? And make it so he can still hang with the younger fighters, But I just think that without the same volume as he used to be throwing, right? Without that same intensity he used to be able to put on someone, that's going to allow Griffin to implement his game plan. And I think we've seen Griffin, not as reckless as he has been in the past, right? In the last 2 fights, but with that power, he can end it, right? As he did against Song. So I think Griffin, I think he's going to get it done.
I'm taking Griffin by knockout on this one. Just 100% agree. It's like I love Carlos.
Right.
Yeah, he's great, but it's Max is the future. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works out, though. But you never know. I mean, the experience can come and change something at the end, and he could see a weakness in Max's attack there.
Well, you know, Condon, like when you look at his last opponents, right? So he was able to get the, you know, nod over Matt Brown, and he was able to beat Court McGee. And, you know, in that fight, I thought McGee was gonna get it. But yeah, like Condon was really able to dominate McGee. And we've seen McGee since then come back, you know, and look very good, right? So the fact that Condon was able to stifle both of those opponents, you know, I think that definitely speaks volumes. Because both have got, you know, I think both are known for having a really good output. But yeah, I just think Griffin, I just think he gets it done. I think, you know, since having his kid, like there's just a new fire in Griffin.
Right. Yeah, just like as Carlos has evolved, so has Griffin. He's a much better fighter, more reserved, more, you know, takes his time a little bit better.
I mean, I don't know if he's a better fighter.
He's improved.
Right, but I just think Condon, he's just been in wars.
He's not as reckless as he used to be. Not better than Carlos, but Max is a little more reserved.
Yeah, he's reined it in a bit.
For sure.
Yeah, but it's definitely a good fight to, yeah, lead us into this main card. This main card, which, other than that, for the opening fight, it's pretty killer.
It was a good fight up until a staph infection.
And nah, even then, it wasn't the best of fights. Like, you know what I mean? I think Louis Smolka is a good fighter. I think he's a good fighter, but more flyweight than bantamweight. And I just think that Sean O'Malley, you know, he's levels ahead of Smolka.
True.
You know,
it's like all his fights are gimmicks. It's
well,
I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, because I think O'Malley has fought some tough people. You know, Eddie Wineland, right before that fight, before the O'Malley fight, we'd seen, you know, Wineland really look impressive. You know, like he beat Grigori Pipov, you know, and he looked really good in that fight. Oh my gosh, it was getting back to that classic Eddie Wineland, you know. So the fact that O'Malley put him away and put him away the way he did,
that was impressive.
That was something else. That really was something else. And Jose Quinones, right? Like he you know, killed him, right? But Quinones, we saw him, you know, after getting beat by Nathaniel Wood, he came back in his next fight and looked very good. You know, he looked very good. So the fact that O'Malley just flattened him, that was like, oh, damn. You know, so it's just, it's not that he's had, you know, these hand-picked easy fights. You know, Thomas Almeida, you know what I mean? Like, he's been in there with some of the best in the game. You know? Right. He's had some crazy fights. But O'Malley is just at that different level.
Yeah,
You
I want
know,
to see him
O'Malley
fight
just
someone
has
on his level. On that
no,
level.
but the thing being is, right, he could have lost any of those fights because though the people he's fought, these guys, they've looked good. They've all looked good until they went in up against O'Malley. It's not like you know, they O'Malley was just fighting bums.
No, well,
These guys weren't bums.
There's no bums in the
These guys were talented, and I think when you actually consider how young O'Malley is in the game, you know, he came to the UFC via the Contender Series, right? So when you look at how he's come into things, these have been appropriate fights. It's just the fact that O'Malley has, man, he's just looked so impressive that after the fact, you'd be like, oh, well, that fight was just way too easy for O'Malley.
Right.
But before that fight, before what we had seen out of O'Malley, you'd be like, yeah, no, this is an interesting fight. This is an interesting matchup. This guy has more experience. He's been in with, you know, high level people, right? So you when you look at it like that, you'd be like, no, this is a good fight. But it's just the fact that O'Malley has really been impressive, so goddamn impressive. And basically every time we've seen him, he has added new tools to his game, right? He's added new ways to get the job done. So I think it's easy to go, he's just wiped the floor with all of these people. But before the fights had happened, you would be going, this is an interesting one. This guy could really challenge O'Malley.
True. I want to see him fight somebody now. They should put somebody on his level now.
I think we'll see that in the, you know, the fight after this. You know, it was just, yeah, I think a lot of people were matched up, you know, coming into this one, which is always these, you know, I think it's easy sometimes to go, that person should fight that person. But when everyone's already matched, you know what I mean? It's just like, what do you do?
Well, yeah, look at the first two fights.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, everyone wants to be on a card like this. So you just, you know, you just, you know, take those fights that are available. And, you know, the Smoker fight was there. Now, yes, you would have wanted, I'd really, man, I'd like to see him up against a Marab. I mean,
that would be good.
That'd be so damn good.
That would be really good.
I think, you know, a fight against someone like the Matrix Kyler Phillips. I mean, that's a good fight.
Yes.
You know, there are so many really interesting fights for O'Malley. You know, when you look at the people above him, like you know, I wouldn't mind seeing him against Jimmy Rivera, right? I wouldn't mind seeing him against Rafael Assunção. You know?
Yeah, no, that would be great. Those all would be good fights.
Yeah, but people are injured. You know, like Sanhagen is fighting Dillashaw. You know, we got Yan against Sterling. That's going to be thing. Rob Font is literally just fought. I think Jose Aldo has got a fight.
Oh, really?
I believe he's booked up against someone.
Oh my goodness.
For the life of
that's
me, I
he's always
can't think of who, but I could have sworn recently that Aldo has got a fight. So we have these ones, right? We've got all of these people already matched up.
That's
So
true.
it makes it difficult. It makes it difficult when people are like, I want to fight someone in the top 10. You're like, everyone in the top 10 is already booked.
Right.
You know, so it's just, you know, you have to take fights. It's like, I think when Francis was frustrated that he didn't have any fights, you know, but the title was being, you know, that was being contested between Stipe and Cormier. So then it was just like, well, who would he fight? He's already beaten everyone in the top. You know what I mean? So who do you put him up against? You know, so it's all well and good being like, I want to fight someone, I want to do this. But you're just like, well, you've already just walked through those people.
I know. What's next? Exhibition Logan Paul fight?
No. So it's just, you know, it becomes difficult sometimes. You know, so I just think,
I'm curious to see how Sean plans to knock him out with something we've never seen before. You see his quote?
No. Is that what he said?
Yeah. O'Malley plans to knock out Chris with something nobody has ever seen. So yeah, that could be interesting, or it could be a little bit cockiness, but we'll see. But though I have Sean by knockout for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean O'Malley.
Without a doubt.
You know, I think it. Look, everyone has said it. It's a lose-lose situation for O'Malley here. You know what I mean? It's just like, if he wins this in, you know, if he knocks him out in the first round, everyone's gonna be like, yeah, you're meant to knock him out in the first round.
Right.
If he loses to him, if he gets caught. And we've seen that happen. We've seen people come in, like Justin James came in and caught Frank Camacho. Right? We've seen the, you know, the new guy come in and get the sensational win. Right? So Jeremiah Williams, is it Jeremiah Williams the other day beat oh, God damn it. God damn it. I cannot think of the name. Ugh.
Oh, was that the boxing this weekend?
No. It was in the last UFC.
Oh. That's right. That was 2 weeks ago.
God damn. He fought someone very good. Fuck. Who did he fight? It was a good, yeah, it was a good fight. Wally Alvarez, who that he's been in there with so many good fighters, and yeah, he, you know,
I honestly, I love it when that happens.
Yeah, well, Jeremiah Wales, I guess said Williams. Jeremiah Wales, he got that win. You know what I mean? He knocked him out I think it was the second round, right? So it's not like it's crazy. It's not one of those things where you'd be like, oh, well, O'Malley definitely wins. I mean, you'd imagine he wins, but we've definitely seen it go the other way. So it's a tough situation for O'Malley. It really is. But yeah, I believe O'Malley's gonna win the fight.
But yeah, never know. It'd be fun if it goes the other way. That's a highlight.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be fun for O'Malley.
No.
You know, you say it'll be fun, it won't be fun for O'Malley.
No.
Like,
As a fan, I love it.
he wouldn't be very happy. But yeah, no, I think O'Malley, as long as his leg can hold out, I think he's a future champion in that division. But I think the way the bantamweight division is, I think it's going to be one of those ones where we see that belt change hands multiple times. I don't think we're going to see someone, you know, who can reign on the top like a Dominic Cruz or a Jose Aldo. I don't think we're going to see that again. I think we're going to see the belt pass through, you know, a few fighters, but I think it's going to be one of those where, right, this group of fighters, they, you know, every time they match up, no one's going to know what's going to happen, right? We're going to see some trilogy fights and shit like that, and you know, someone else gets the belt in the next time they match up. You know, I think it's going to be, there's just a level of competition is so goddamn good.
That belt's going to be a dirty whore by the time they're done. Passed around.
I mean, I'm sure the belt is very consensual in what it does.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not sure we should slut shame the belt,
but no, not slut shame. No shame ever. I appreciate it. I'm pro sex work all day. No shame.
But yeah, no, I think it's going to be interesting. But yeah, no, I think O'Malley gets it done, and yeah, I mean, when he says he's, you know, knock him out, have we seen O'Malley knock anyone out with a head kick? I think that's what he means. Like we're going to see him knock him out with something we haven't seen him catch.
There before. You go. That would make more sense. It's like, yeah, what kind of new inventive thing is he going to do that's legal?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a newfangled technique, but yeah, I think it's going to be something we haven't seen from O'Malley. So yeah, maybe a head kick. Who knows?
No doubt.
But yeah, sticking with the bantamweight division,
yes,
you know, we go with the ladies, and I like this matchup.
So do I.
Yana Kutsaya against Irene Aldana.
I'm liking Aldana on this one quite a bit, actually. I mean, she has like the most takedown defense in UFC history, which is pretty incredible. And then you got Yana, who's primarily a grappler. I just think that's going to work towards Aldana's advantage in this one.
Yeah, I you know, there's a lot of recency biased, I think, at times, and especially when we're basically getting fights every single week, right?
Oh, yeah. We're spoiled.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And when it's not the UFC, we get the LFA or someone like that who put on another great card, you know? So we see so many great fights, and it's easy to be like, well, in the last fight, you know, and yeah, Aldana was not great against Home.
No,
you know, but
that's Holly.
Come on. I think it is that, right? But every now and again, you're gonna have an off night. Every now and again, because the mistakes we saw Aldana make against Home, we've seen her, you know, circumvent in other fights, right? So I just think the Home fight, you know, there was definitely a level of Holmes experience, but I just think Aldana it was just a shitty night in the office, right? But when you look at the way she's performed before that fight, I think she's looked really good. You know, there's been a few decisions where you think, man, I thought she got that one.
Right.
But yeah, I think I think Aldana, she's someone who you can't sleep on. I think Aldana has got what it takes to, be a champ in this division. I mean, because let's be honest, Nunes, she's not going to be fighting, for that belt much longer. I think cutting down to 135 is tough on Amanda. So I imagine we're going to see her either relinquish the belt or just retire soon. She's done everything. She's done everything. And so once Nunes is out of the pool, there are so many interesting matchups, right? Because I think Nunes she's that next level, right? She's like Ronda when Ronda was at her best. She's that fighter. When you get someone who's so elite, right? They just make everyone else look ordinary. But once you take Nunes out of the mix, again, like the men's bantamweight division, you've got a group of fighters who you'd be like, man, any of these, ladies could be champ.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We got Jermaine Durandare, Holly Holm, right? Aspen Ladd, Juliana Pena, who is actually challenging for the belt. I don't think she gets it this time, but when Nunes is gone, right? Like Miesha Tate, Ronda retired, and then it kind of left a void, and Miesha Tate was finally able to, succeed, right? So, I mean, we've got these very talented group of fighters, and I think Aldana is up in that mix.
Absolutely. It's when the top fighters step down, it really makes the division a lot more exciting. I think, now that Khabib is sort of relinquished and out of the picture, that whole division is, never. You got so many top contenders now.
Yeah.
As opposed to just one guy that dominates all. That's Amanda.
Indeed. And I like Kutsantaya, right? I remember watching her back in Invicta, her fights against Tanya Evinger, right? That whole crazy situation, and the ref stopping the fight, and just all of that, right?
I just Invicta champ, right?
Yeah, she then eventually won against. Interesting enough, she beat Raquel Contu, who had a incredible fight, right? No one else wanted to fight Cyborg. She stepped in. She Imamari rolled Cyborg and had a leg lock early.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
that's surprising.
Yeah, she wasn't able to pull it off, but she had Cyborg, against someone else who really knows their leg locks. Really had the strength to get that done. Like, who knows how that would have gone? But she's gutsy. She's definitely gutsy. But I think the thing we see out of Kutsantaya, and especially in the most recent fights, she does like to clinch you on the fence. She did it against Stolarenko. She did it against Ferreira. She was able to disrupt the distance and get it where she can dominate. And she likes the dirty boxing. She likes the clinch game. It's the war of inches on the fence. That that's how she likes to play, and I don't think she will be able to do that against Aldana.
I agree.
I think Aldana has got a very good jab, a very good jab, right? Whereas they've got an opponent in common in Catelyn Vieira, and Aldana knocked Vieira out.
Oh, what was Yana's Elka?
That was her last fight, and it was a decision. She, because Saya won it, but yeah, it was, she just got Vieira up against the fence, stifled her, used her dirty boxing, to get the win. So, I said, look, I don't think she can do that. I don't think she can do that against Aldana. And Aldana's got, the camp Aldana's from, right? The Lobo gym. There's some talented ladies, Alexa Grasso, she fights out of that gym, and Grasso is talented, right? Grasso, again, was hot in Invicta. She was at a point where you just thought she was going to challenge for the belt, but got the call up to the UFC before, so yeah, she fights out of that gym. There is a lot of extremely talented individual gym, so becomes bantamweight champion.
Oh, you're looking into the future even, and I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, then we
heavyweight time.
Yeah, we get with the big boys.
Yeah.
So Greg Hardy against Ty. Okay, now I think we've definitely seen two of us be able to turn things around. I think training at AKA it's been huge for him. He's not as reckless as he, and I think they do still train, but he was getting taken down all the time. So he went to AKA, right? And yeah, he's got knockouts in his last two, but Stefan Struve, right? And Stefan Struve he's a likable fighter, but this round, it was insane, right? And then, he beats Harry Huckensucker, who, I believe it was a last minute replacement.
Okay.
Right. But it's not a huge name. No. You know what I mean? So it's not like two of us. He's been in wars. He's been in some wars, right? And I think although Greg Hardy is never going to be a champion level fighter, we have seen him fight.
Oh, absolutely. It's just so hard with that do that, but Wonder Boy's just so lanky and weird with his movements. It's like securing that takedown is going to be hard.
Well, I mean, look, how many people have easily taken Wonder Boy down? He's not an easy person to take down.
No.
And remember who his brother, or is it Bridesman's sister's married to his brother? I forget, but he's related. But then also, right, the Machadas. So they got jiu-jitsu in the family tree too. So Wonder Boy, he's got crazy motherfuckers he can train with and like expertise he can call on. And as I said, we don't see Wonder Boy getting taken down all the time.
Right.
He's got good takedown defense. And remember the fight against Jeff Neal. He was masterful, right? The way that he moves, it is impressive as hell. And this is the thing, right? So it was interesting, right? Because I think, gosh, I believe it was Unfiltered, right? Wonder Boy did Unfiltered, and he pointed something out, and it is something that everyone seems to do, right? They get god damn it. Raymond, fuck. I was going to say Raymond Chandler, but that's a fucking novelist. But he's a point fighter. He fights in Bellator. Fuck, forget his name. But but everyone brings him. His opponents always bring him in to duplicate Thompson.
Oh,
right. And the thing is, they don't really have the same style, right? When you watch this dude fight, he's talented as hell, right? He's fought in Glory, now he fights in Bellator. He's good. He's very good. But he's not the same style as Stephen Thompson, right? No. And how many people have had success of bringing him in and trying to utilize that to beat them? Not many people at all. So yeah, Gilbert has done that, but here's the thing, right? Thompson, Woodley didn't take him down. You know what I mean? It's just like he's fought tough people. He's fought people with heavy hands. He's fought people who have got very good jiu-jitsu. Right, so although we have definitely seen Gilbert Burns, improve, right, add new wrinkles to the game, right? So now he's more than just a jiu-jitsu cat. We've seen him knock people out, but I think we've seen him get a little bit in love with the hands. Oh, right, we've seen him get in love with those hands, with touching people and knocking them out, right? And Wonder Boy, he can, he can nullify that, right?
His Jeff fight IQ Neal is just off the chain.
Yeah, Jeff Neal has got that knockout power. We've seen him knock people out. Wonder Boy he made that look easy. He made it look easy, which is it's nuts. It is nuts.
His defense is incredible. It's like it's showing what his karate style can actually do.
Yeah, but it's not just. I like Gilbert Burns. I really like Gilbert Burns, but I don't know. Like from what he's saying, right? The way he's been talking, he's kind of making it sound that he can beat Wonder Boy on the feet. And I think the best place for him, you just have to be able to know what's coming and defend against it. Right. And I think that, although Gilbert is very good, I think we're going to see Wonder Boy get the job done.
I think so. I think it'd actually be a good fight.
Wonder Boy. No, it's definitely going to be a good fight, right? But
yeah,
Usman doesn't. Although it's not like he's running away from Covington, but he doesn't think that fight was competitive. And I thought that Usman, he handled Covington, so I can understand why he doesn't necessarily, he's not in love with that rematch. And I don't necessarily think that Edwards, although, right, on paper, Edwards has clearly done enough to get that fight. But the optics of it all Edwards, he whines. He whines a lot. And I don't want to be... Look, I like Leon Edwards, but Leon Edwards is his own worst enemy at times.
Absolutely.
Like, he turned down the title fight because supposedly he wasn't able to train. But then on Embedded, he's coaching him and just saying, "Oh, I've just been training for the last 2 years."
Oh, wow.
So it's just like, well, what is it? You said that you weren't going to take the Usman fight because the gyms were all shut because of lockdown and you weren't able to train. But now you're saying you've been training. So what is it? So there's things that he said that have hurt him. Right, getting clipped by Diaz in the last minute of that fight, it kind of hurt him. Although Edward, let's be real, Edwards dominated that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He took down Diaz with ease.
Right.
But I also think that there were points in the fight where if Edwards had put his foot on the pedal a bit more, he might have been able to get a finish. But we didn't necessarily see him go for a finish. We saw him dominate, but we didn't see him try and sever the head, right? And I think that's the big thing. So I think Wonder Boy, if he was to knock out Gilbert Burns, say in the first round, even the second round, right? If we just see Stephen Thompson put on another masterful display, that could definitely jump him to the front of that queue.
Oh, definitely, and he's definitely in the skill set to make that happen. I could see it. I think it's Stephen Wonderboy's time.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I agree. I like Burns, but I just think Wonderboy's fight IQ is just going to be too much. He's gonna figure out a way. Burns isn't gonna have a really hard time taking him down and gonna get frustrated.
Yeah, great fight to lead us into the trilogy fight. The main event.
3.
Dustin Poirier against Conor McGregor.
It's just so weird how Conor's been just to judge him where he's at right now.
I mean, it's not really a surprise though. Because he's in Ireland, right? So different time zone. So to do the media, right? So right now, you know what I mean? Like Poirier was always going to be doing the media anyway. So it's just like, you didn't really need Conor. We're going to get a press conference tomorrow. So yeah, it's fine. Like everyone's still anticipating what's going to happen. And I believe Poirier is the favorite in this matchup.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure even by how much. You can look at the odds on that one.
I mean, how are you taking this one?
That's what I'm talking about. It's hard to read Conor. I don't see it going a whole lot different than last time. I think Dustin's going to put on a clinic again. But
whoa.
I think Poirier is going
to hold the fuck up.
What?
Now, hey, listen. I don't mind you saying Poirier wins the fight, but put on a clinic again.
Yeah, well, from the last fight. I mean, it was what, second round knockout?
It was a second round knockout, but
yeah, he looked great.
Conor won that first round.
He did.
Yeah, so that's not like really a clinic. It's not really a clinic if you didn't win the first round. You know what I mean? A clinic would be Poirier just controlling all aspects of the fight And he didn't. He got the early takedown, right? Got the early takedown, but he couldn't hold Conor down. And I think that's the big thing. Conor, yes, he has been taken down, in the past, but we haven't seen a whole heap of people just smother him on the ground. Even Khabib had a very difficult time getting him down.
True.
So yeah. And then once they were back up on the feet, Conor was, he was landing more, right? But the big thing of that first round were those calf kicks.
Right.
But without the calf kick, but Conor won the first round. Conor landed the better shots in that first round. It's just he did not defend the calf kicks.
Right. No, he had definitely had more significant strikes in the first round, but yeah, you could tell by the second round he was sort of
not so much of a clinic.
All right. A session. I'll give you a session, not a clinic. It was a class on leg kicks.
Son of a bitch. Oh my gosh. It was an interesting one, right? Because although Conor hasn't necessarily been, he hasn't been in there with people that do the leg kicks like we're seeing the leg kicks done, right? It's not like you didn't know the leg kicks were a thing. You know what I mean? So and especially with the stance Conor has, right? It's surprising that they hadn't worked out the defense for the leg kicks, because there is a defense for the leg kicks.
Yeah.
Right. So it was surprising that they didn't, but we have seen some people just eat the leg kicks. Right? There's certain fighters who just never block a leg kick and are fine. Right? So I think there is sometimes the belief that, I can take them. It's fine. I can take a leg kick. Right? And there's taking a leg kick and then there's taking a calf kick, which is a different thing. Sure. But because Conor has fought people that have got very good leg kicks. But he's been fine, right? So I think there was that, I'm fine. I've taken a leg kick, but it's a different animal, right? And I think that was the big thing. Like the calf kicks were definitely the thing that decided that fight. Because without the calf kick, Conor wasn't getting knocked out. Because he only got knocked out because his leg had gone. So he couldn't move. So if you can't move, like anyone, anyone, if all you can do is stand there, you're going to get murked.
Oh yeah, if you can't put any pressure on that forward leg, that's it. It's over.
Yeah. So, that was the big thing, right? And I've heard people say, "Oh, it's just been 6 months. There's no way Conor can have changed in 6 months." And I disagree, right? I think, right? Now, you could definitely say that about some fighters, right? But when you're talking about people at the upper echelon of the shit, right? These elite fighters. I mean, an elite fighter can definitely turn things around in a shorter period of time, right? And say what you want about McGregor, right? Yes, McGregor can be a dick. He can do some stupid shit. And we've seen him do some stupid shit.
Sure.
He's still a high-level fighter. And so I definitely feel that he can make those changes. And I think an interesting thing about this fight is you have like when he said first one to shoot is a dusty bitch, right? Funny, but you have to read into that what it is, right? Now,
Right.
Doing the press, Poirier is just like, oh, I feel that reeks of insecurity, and it's just like, no, it's just head games, right? Because you're not saying, oh, please don't take me down. Please don't take me down. I don't want to mess around on the ground with you. Oh, please don't. Look, if you shoot, you're an idiot. Look, I've called it. No, what you're basically saying is, right, I don't think you're going to take me down, right? And then the opponents be like, I took you down before. I can take you down. So then it's in their head to try and take you down.
Right.
Right. So you basically told them, all right, I know you're going to shoot on me now. Right.
Exactly.
Because although it's saying, oh, the first one to shoot is a pussy, right? It's basically going, right, I'm saying this. So it means I now know you're going to probably try and shoot on me straight away.
That makes sense. A little mental chess going on.
Yeah. So it's not saying, please don't. It's just going, do it. Because by saying it's making it look like I don't want this. But Conor got up. It's not like Poirier held him down for all the round. And no, Conor got up and won the round. Right?
True.
But by saying it, you now kind of manifest it to be Poirier will shoot early. Right? So that essentially, that's the thing. So you know that he's probably run some uppercut drills, some knee drills, hook drills to counter. And Conor is an exceptional counter fighter.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's lulling someone into that full sense of security. And I think in the first rematch, right? I think there was a lot of confidence. Like I think McGregor was extremely confident. He won with ease the first time, so he should be able to win with ease this time, right?
Right.
And this time around, we're seeing that from Poirier, right? And I think that there can be that full sense of security that I took, because we've heard so many people say it, right? Poirier took Conor's best shot, and he walked through it. I mean, he took a good shot from Conor for sure, but to say it was his best shot, and the fact that, so that just shows that Conor can't knock Poirier out.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't say that. It just means you were able to take one shot. Right? And there's so many variables in these things. Like, was someone turning their head and you catch them at the apex of the punch? You know what I mean? Like, how did that punch actually land? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
There is so many things. Like when you look at the Aldo was walking in as the punch, so you maximize the pressure of it, right? Yeah. So there's so many different things that factor into a knockout like that. So
that makes sense.
Although, yes, Poirier took a good shot from Conor, and I think Poirier thinks, and we've heard, look, Poirier, Mike Brown just came out and was just like, Poirier's made for this. But it's just like, Of course, Mike Brown's going to say that. Mike Brown is his coach. Mike Brown isn't going to be like, yeah, I think Conor could knock him out. Right?
Right.
Like,
yeah, that'd be a bad coach.
It's I think it's pointless talking to coaches and teammates before fights like this.
They're just their hype men for the most part at that point.
Yeah, no one is going to come out and say an honest thing like, oh yeah, no, in training, I have noticed that Poirier drops his right. And I think, Condon will see that and, he's going to capitalize and knock him out. No one's going to say that.
Yeah, put out their full game plan.
Yeah. Whatever actually happens, whatever you actually might think deep down, you're riding for your peoples. Right? So these whole sound bites, these comments, they're pointless shit. But I do think there could be a bravado from the Poirier camp coming into this, thinking, we got it done. There's no way he can turn it around in 6 months. We've got the money fight. We'll take the championship in the next fight. Boom.
Right.
I get that kind of sense. And it's not to say Poirier can't win this. But I do believe that a lot of people are underselling McGregor.
I could see that. I mean, if he's like just focused on checking the calf kick this 5 months, I could easily see him learning how to do that. I don't know why people wouldn't think not. I mean, if that's his primary focus and all his other weapons are fine, the only thing he just has to work on that defense, it could easily go a different way. I mean, and you could, if you learn it right, you can check that calf kick where you actually end up damaging your foot more so than anything else. So you can see Dustin limping.
Yeah, no, there is definitely that. And I think also, if you remember that first fight, the second fight, right? It wasn't like the approach Conor utilized was very different to the ones he's done before, right? He was pushing the fight more. Rather than just be that movement heavy counter fighter. Like if you think about the McGregor we saw against like Eddie Alvarez, it wasn't that fight. And I think in this one, we'll see Conor get back to those basics. I mean, we're going to see him try and utilize that counter boxing a lot more, and just be more, not try and force it, right? And I think, we hadn't seen Conor for a while in the last one, but now this is just, 6 months. So it's a more regular pace, right? It's more what he wanted when he fought Cerrone, right? So I think that takes pressure off of McGregor. So I believe we're gonna see a different McGregor, and I'm picking McGregor to win. I definitely think Poirier can win, but I think McGregor is only fighting for legacy. McGregor is fighting because he still wants to be seen as the best fighter out there, right? Yeah. And you don't get that by fucking off. So, you know what I mean? I do believe that there have been times when McGregor has probably controlled his camp a bit too much. But I don't think that's controlled a camp in a sense of, I'm not training today. You know what I mean?
Never.
No, I think it's more of a case of, today I'm training at 10. Oh, tomorrow I'm training at 1. You know what I mean? It's just, there's not the routine behind it. But I think that Conor is hungry. I think Conor does not like to be in a situation where he isn't looked at as the alpha in the division. Because people say he's the money fight, but they're not saying he's the best. And I think that irks McGregor.
Hurting his ego a little bit.
Yeah. So I think he's put in the work. And I think that if Poirier is underestimating it, I think McGregor is gonna get that win.
You know, I think you might have changed me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that though. Because last fight, yeah, you're right. Connor was still a little rusty. He had the cowboy fight, which he planned on. You know, I think he wanted to be one of the most active fighters that year, and then COVID hit, and that just all disappeared.
Yeah, he wanted, 3 more fights after the Cerrone fight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think he has a new focus. He was humbled. He was humbled last fight, big time. And so he's gonna. I could see him having a new fire, new determination. Then he has a lot more to prove and a lot more to lose than Poirier.
But I mean, it wasn't his. It's not like it's his first loss, and
No.
When we've seen McGregor lose, he's not a bad loser.
True.
You know what I mean? He doesn't be like, I didn't lose that fight. The judges got it wrong. Oh, this happened, or that happened. And look, we've seen him fight injured. He tore his Achilles before fighting Chad Mendes. Right? How many people go into a fight with an injury like that? Right. That's not a good fucking injury, right? And when you think how yes, he got taken down by Mendes a lot in that fight, but with a torn Achilles, he's a ruptured Achilles, whatever the fuck it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes it hard to get up.
Yeah.
It makes it hard.
Knock someone out.
Well, it makes it hard moving. You know what I mean? So the fact that anyone would go into a fight with that level of an injury against a wrestler. And yes, look, we know Chad Mendes took the fight on short notice, right? But it was still a terrible, a terrible skill set to go up against when you're injured, right? And we saw him go and do it. So I think we can see that McGregor, he's not looking for easy fights, right? He wants to be the best, and that's why he's still fighting. And I think he's put in the work, right? I think he went away after losing that fight, and he upped the effort.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Probably to the point where his family's like missing him and hating him right now because hasn't been around.
Mm-hmm.
But the paycheck will make it up.
Yeah, of course. Of course it will. So yeah, I'm saying McGregor gets it done. And the winner of the fight will fight Oliveira.
I'm gonna put my money on Connor. That's what I'm gonna bet on. Yeah. Ooh, now Oliveira though. That'll be a good fight for either of them.
I mean, it's an interesting one, right? Because in that second round, Oliveira, he looked good. He looked very good. He finished the fight. But, there was a moment when, Chandler nearly won that fight.
That's true.
So, and it was funny because there was that moment in that fight where in previous fights we've seen Oliveira kind of just fold. But he didn't. He didn't in that fight. But if you're getting smacked by Poirier or McGregor, or it could be a different thing. So I think although Oliveira looked very good, he looked very good. And on the ground, Oliveira will always be the superior, right? I think that it wasn't a flawless victory. So
And in
there's
some ways,
room for other people to, get it done.
and in some ways, Chandler lost it himself. I remember he was getting sort of sloppy there. He was pushing for the finish, and that's where they ended up getting clipped, I believe, right? Remembering that right?
No, so he ended the first round well, right? He nearly got the finish. Oliveira was to survive. And in the second round, Oliveira clipped him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Chandler does put himself in reckless situations.
That's right. Yes, he came out rushing second round and got clipped like in 19 seconds.
Yeah. So it's just like we don't really see McGregor or Poirier rush.
No.
So it will definitely be an interesting one. But the winner of this fight definitely will be fighting for that belt.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great weekend. I'm so excited about Saturday.
So how are you watching the fight? Are you at home? Are you going anywhere?
I'm probably gonna be sitting it right here and not sharing it with anybody online.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so irritated because it's a paid fight in the UK. Because for the most part, the fights are free. Right. Well, I mean, they're free in the fact that, they air on BT Sports. So BT Sports, it's not a free channel. You pay for it, but you get.
Bisping works on there a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot, right? Depending on what sports you like, they've got a lot of stuff. So
right.
But every now and again, they throw in a motherfucking pay-per-view.
Damn it.
And this, I think it was, I believe the first fight was a pay-per-view one on, the first Poirier fight.
Unfiltered today.
Oh, yeah, John Gooden. But I think the difference with boxing, it's just fists.
Right.
But when you know what I mean? Because now you've got kicks, you've got jiu-jitsu, you're going to be like, you know what I mean? Someone has to really know how to create that picture.
Yeah, you have to be an amazing commentator to actually, to be able to describe that and put that in somebody's brain like that.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting, but I ain't trying it on this card. I want to watch this. You know what I mean?
So how are you going to be watching it?
Just going to be, it's going to be probably the main card. I imagine it's going to be starting at 3 in the morning over here. So that's the thing. It's not like there are a few, there's a few sports bars opened up, right? But it's not like over with you. It's not like most places show these events. Most bars and things like that. It's not like that over here. And especially when it comes to UFC, which is, usually 3 in the morning. Right? So you're usually watching it on your J's. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe you might get some people around to watch it, but when you've got neighbors, you can't really have a big thing and everyone being like, it's bad enough, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm watching these fights and it's like, maybe it's the co-main event. It's 5 a.m. in the morning, some crazy knockout. You're like, oh my God. And you're like,
oh my God.
You know what I mean? It should be like, shit. I can't wake the neighbors, man. Everyone's gonna get mad pissed if I'm shouting my head off at these fights. You're trying to hold it down, you know what I mean?
Our neighbors would hate us if fights were at that hour, but yeah, because their walls are so thin with the apartment, and right here is somebody, and they're paper thin. We can hear like every little conversation, and so yeah, that's some of it when Kim and I start screaming like, "Oh shit! Holy shit!" You know?
They're just thinking, I think he's hitting her. I think he's hitting her again.
Wait, but she's cheering. She likes it, so it's okay. It's consensual.
Oh man, yeah. There's certain things that aren't the best for group watching at home.
Right.
So there's not really there's not really other ways of watching the UFC in the UK.
Hopefully you can get your computer, a new computer with this new thing you got going on, and you can come and watch it with us.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I definitely know every time I have tried to log on, it just crashes. It just crashes. So I think there's no point trying at the moment. I think I just need to get a new system, and then I can start watching PFL and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's the predictions. Not as not as crazy, because you decided to ride my coattails with most of my spot on predictions.
No. Only on the last one. All the other ones were my own brand. Last one, definitely. You've converted me.
But I am looking forward to this card. I am really looking forward to this card, man. Monday we break it down. We look back over all the carnage that took place. And I imagine we're gonna have some upsets.
Saturday, I will be watching the fights with a pad and paper. And they'll probably get more illegible as the night goes on. Usually it starts off pretty good, but then it starts like scribble right in real quick.
No, so I've created a little bit of a code so I can jot certain things, because it's just like, if you're having to write rear naked choke, submission, like, it gets a bit, you're gonna miss it, so you have to like abbreviate everything. I mean, like,
oh, that's smart. That's a great idea.
Yes.
I think I'll do that, because I write out full words. I think I'll give that a shot. That'll be smart.
So there you go, people. UFC 264. It's gonna be a big one. Now, fingers crossed, right? Touch wood, COVID or nothing else crazy comes and fucks up any of these fights, because that would just be.
I know, I was terrified for a minute when they're talking about Connor having a potential staph infection. It's like, what? No.
I mean, come on, that was just so much of a stretch, though. Someone saw a little blob on his. I mean, like, come on.
Is
like,
that what that was?
Why are you looking that closely?
Yeah, right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's not like it wasn't a Kevin Lee situation where it's just like, it's hard to miss. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna be fine. But hopefully, nothing interferes and all these 13 fights take place. But can't wait. Can't wait.
Here, my friend. And I look forward to talking to you on Monday, wrapping it all up again.
All right, Matthew. I don't even know where that came from. Anyway, sure. Yes, we will touch base, and we'll talk about the way I masterfully predicted all of these fights.
Absolutely. With perfection.
Splendid. All right, man. Thanks for jumping on, and until next time.
Yes. Peace.